You ask, how can you manifest more money when you are a business owner? How do you actually build a multi-million-dollar company? And we have the answers. Part one of this 2 parts episode is already there. And this is the continuation of the conversation that I'm having with Kathrin Zinkina, the manifestation babe. So if you're jumping into this episode, I highly suggest that you go back and listen to part one so that you understand what the heck are we talking about, and then jump right into here. Because if you thought that we have gotten deeper in part one, wait to see part two. We are going everywhere with this conversation, and everywhere is exactly the place where you want and need to be if you want to become a master of manifesting money when a business owner. Hello and welcome to the Money Mindset Show, the place where we help female entrepreneurs to transform their mind so that they can achieve financial success in the least amount of time. Here, we talk about subconscious mind, we talk about money mindset chips, money mindset blocks, a strategy so that you can bypass your own money mindset and increase your income, better your relationship with money, and grow your business. Okay, but before I let you into today's episode, come here. Be honest with me. How many times have you found yourself doing the extra thing, going the extra mile because you really, really want this goal, but the financial results are nowhere to be seen? You know you want your financial independence, but yet you find yourself spending more time and effort and money into crafting the perfect social media strategy, thinking what caption should I write, what picture should I post, when should I post it, instead of looking at the things that really matter with money. The exact same loop that I have seen hundreds of my clients throughout the years getting stuck. And the reason is one and one only. The type of habits that are driving your life, these habits are the leader of your show, of your business, and we have to stop them. The way that you do that is by adapting new ones. I have put together for you the top 5 financial habits for exponential growth with your business for you to download right now. Go to themoneymindset.com/5. That is the Money Mindset Hub, HUB.com/5, and download this top 5 financial habits for exponential growth specifically for founders. Again, that is the Money Mindset Hub, HUB.com/5.
Nothing is wasted in the universe. Nothing is actually just empty space. It actually is very much comprised of energy. So that made me go, everything is energy. That's really interesting. And so if everything is energy, that means that everything in my room right now is actually energy, even though I'm perceiving it as solid form. That's just how my brain is processing energy in such a way that I'm experiencing reality. Because if we didn't have a brain, there wouldn't be reality. Like it would just be a very confusing place. We would just see energy forms and light waves and things like that, but nothing would actually have tangibility. And so I'm like, that's interesting. So then I'm probably made up of all energy, and everything in this universe is energy. And so that means that money is also energy. Interesting. Okay. So that made me then be able to apply more of these manifestation teachings. So I started thinking about manifestation teachings and how they say that everything you put out into the universe is what you attract to yourself. So there's these universal laws, these principles of, like, for example, we often hear about the law of attraction. So like attracts like, right? And so whatever I put out into the world, whatever my frequency is what I get in return. Well, what is my frequency? Because then I sat down and I'm like, hold on, how do I know what my frequency is? What does that mean? And I realized that it all has to do with our thoughts, our beliefs, and emotions. Now, the thing about thoughts is a lot of people get very honed in on just their thoughts, like just control your thoughts and just think positive.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is that we have 60,000 thoughts a day and 95% of them are completely unconscious.
Exactly.
So we're not even actually aware of 95% of them. So how can I possibly control every single thought that I have if I'm not even aware of 95% of them? And so that made me think, hold on, let me go into something that's a little more tangible in that I have more control over. And so then I realized that it's really beliefs. My beliefs are determining what my thoughts are and what my emotions are. And if I want to shift that, then I just need to shift the belief. And so then I start asking myself, okay, so if how much money I have is based on my financial frequency, then what are my beliefs around money? And that's when I went on this journey of just really excavating, like, what was it that I was taught as a kid? What is it that I heard my parents say? What is it that I heard my family say? Other adults, other kids, the movies, the media, the magazines, and all these things. And there's a lot of confusing messaging out there. But for the most part, in my experience, is that money is really scarce and you have to work really hard and you got to hustle and grind and you got to look a certain way and be a certain way and all these things. And then you'll have money. And what I realized is that over time through my manifestation journey is that money actually is a very neutral resource. And we often give so much power to money in thinking that money is looking at us and being like, oh, I don't like you, so I'm not going to be around you. Or like, you didn't work too hard for me today. Or I don't think you deserve me. Bye. You know, and money doesn't have thoughts and opinions and beliefs and emotions. Money is just simply responding. It's an energy. It's literally an energy that's just responding to your own frequency. So what money is responding to, it's not how hard you work. It's not how much effort you put into your project. It's not how many podcasts you decided to record today and how good they were and all those things. Like, obviously that will have an effect on, like, you know, you want to put good work out there and you really want to do your dharma well and all those things. Of course they matter, because at the end of the game, all that truly matters is that you do your dharma in the world. You live your purpose. And the material stuff is temporary. Like you don't leave with money. You don't leave with your material possessions when you die. So it's all part of this beautiful playground that you get to play in. And all money truly responds to is your frequency. And and energy is limitless too. And that's something else that I realize is that we often think of money as this like tangible, very limited resource. But when you break it down to what it actually is, which is everything in this universe, which is just energy, then you realize it's actually a very limitless resource that is just tied to a value exchange. And the more creativity that you have for creating something that someone will pay for, the more money you're going to have. It has nothing to do with what you look like, what your background is. It has nothing to do with anything. It just has to do with, like, how much do you believe that you can manifest and what it takes to manifest the money. And do you offer a service, a value, something to the world that people want to pay for? And that's literally it.
I love it. I love it. Because people believe that closing your eyes and attracting money is manifesting money. Just like, it's going to come to me, but it's not. It's like, it's a whole different layers of that comes from that understanding of the frequency of the space of the creation and creativity. As an entrepreneur, if we don't have ideas, like, what are we doing? Like, it's the currency, literally, it's the currency of entrepreneurship.
Yes, the currency of entrepreneurship. Amen.
Yeah, that creativity. Okay, I am going to jump quickly to the questions that we have from the public, because we can talk for hours, but I want to give you back to you, bad boys. First question that people have asked is, how did RRT supported you in this journey of manifesting money?
Yeah, RRT is one of the most powerful modalities that I've come across. There are many modalities. I don't think that there is like the modality that is for everyone and everything at the same time. I have found RRT to be the most impactful and effective for me personally in terms of like trauma and the things that are very stubborn. Like the things that just like no other modality can get to. You can't stop thinking about it. It's still bothering you. It's still triggering you. Or you had a significant trauma around something, whether it's financial or physical, or you saw someone die, or you got in a bad car wreck, or someone, just something happened. There's some sort of magic in every RRT session that I've ever had where it's like within a session that thing is gone. And it just shows to you the power of the subconscious mind, where everything really stems from the subconscious mind. And RRT is one of those modalities that just has a way of shifting your subconscious mind, your subconscious patterns, your subconscious beliefs in the like record time that I just never have come across in any other modality.
Yeah, it always blows my mind. Like when John does it, it's just like record time, right? But for all of us following that path, it always blows my mind when I'm after one session that I do with somebody, it's like, I don't feel that way anymore. I'm like, why more people don't know about this? But that's for another podcast. I'm going to do another podcast episode on this. So next question that they sent is, why does money seem to be the hardest? Oh, this is good. Seem to be the hardest thing people have to wrap their mind around manifesting. Like people can win free trips and cars, etc., but not the money for those things.
Yes. It does seem to be a very common thing. And I also want to remind the person or the people who ask this that everything is subjective. And for some people, money comes really easily, but it's relationships that are the hardest, right? It's maybe, maybe it's their health that is the hardest, and everything else is so easy. And they're just like frustrated and they think like, why is this so hard? And blah, blah, blah. I think everyone has an area of life that they came here to master. That their soul chose to overcome and learn specific lessons in and take something with them. Like, my shaman, Don Javier, he says like the most important thing is that you leave your life with more than you came here with. And that's not in physical possessions. That's not in material things. That's literally in soul level lessons. And the more that you master in each lifetime, the less, you have different things to accomplish in your next lifetime, but you don't have to repeat these same lessons over and over again. So, but the thing about money, why it seems to be the most common, I think is because we have the most conditioning around it, the most programming around it. I think it's a taboo topic. It's similar to sex, right? Like it's things that people want, but they don't talk about. And so everyone's confused and like, mom, how are babies made? Oh, ask your dad, like just, I don't want to talk about it. Or like we're taught, like, don't ask how much Uncle Bob makes. That's inappropriate. Don't ask how much that house costs. Don't ask them how much their mortgage is. Don't do this. Don't do that. And then there's just so many messages that are passed on. And it's not just on an individual level where we have, our experiences growing up individually with our own families, but it's just societal too. It's societal. It's generational. It's, we have many past lives of dealing with money. And even if not money, because money is a fairly more recent invention in terms of like, here's this dollar bill and like, let me give you some in exchange for something else. I think that even back then, we were always trading something. We were always doing some sort of exchange. So there's always this concept of giving and receiving or getting and giving. And so, there's always been something, these meanings that were passed down along. And we often don't question like, okay, where is that coming from? And why is it this way? And there's this example that's used very commonly to showcase this and how it works, which is, I forget where I heard this. And I'll probably paraphrase this incorrectly on some level, but the way that it sticks out in my mind is that there's like this family, this mom, she's making, I think like a Christmas ham or something. And the daughter notices that the mom always cuts off the end of the ham and then she puts it in the pan and puts it in the oven. And she goes, "Hey mom, like, why do you cut, the turkey or the ham that way?" And she goes, "I don't know. My mom always did it." And so she goes to her grandma and goes, "Grandma, why did you always do that?" I don't know. My mom always did it. And then she finally asked the great grandma, I guess. And the great grandma says, I watched my mom do it, but my mom did it because the pan was too small. And so she had to cut the end off to fit the pan. And so, the thing is passed down the generations, but no one is questioning. I mean, finally the little girl questions. And that's why she got the answer. But all these other, family members or the moms and daughters are just like, I don't know, my mom did it. And so how many beliefs that we have today where we're just like, I don't know, that's what my dad taught me. I don't know, that's what my mom taught me. That's what the TV taught me. That's what the magazine taught me. That's what I learned from school. And we never sit down to freaking question where we get the things that we get. Right. And so I think that because there's just so much programming, it's like a virus in our society that so many people struggle with it.
Yeah, I love it. And when you said that, it just came a song that is so going in Instagram right now. Like, it's a Caribbean lady dancing, and it's like, I don't know where I got this move, but my mama passed it, like my grandma passed it to my mama passed it to me. And it's so beautiful, but it applies to everything. Like, I don't know how I learned how to dance. I probably saw my mom. Not really.
Yeah.
My dad or something like that. And it just gets passed down. And money is one of those things that it has been used to control societies, to isolate, really to create a sense of what all these things, the hierarchical ways, that you are that and we are here. It's just like, it's a translation of the power game as well. It's literally something that if you have, which all in the Americas, we are colonized. Mm-hmm. It's ingrained on who you are as a country. It's just like, it's the basis of it as well. So
I love that point that you bring up where it's such an attachment to identity.
Yeah.
You have this much, so this is your identity. You don't have that much, this is your identity.
Exactly. And that's the definition of the study of economy, by the way. So it's just like, okay, we see all the layers and layers of it. And I want to close, with one question that I got from the Q&A yesterday. By the way, guys, if you are not in sovereign money, what the hell are you doing? This is so good. The way that Kathrin present the perspectives, you have heard it here already, but the way that Kathrin present the perspectives is in a three-dimensional way. It's like you hear it, but you understand it in a different way. Sovereign Money TV has been a great program. First, because you are debunking all of you have to deliver a program with the structure and all that, so that people can buy it or whatever. You're debunking that. That has been super eye-opening for me and this new journey that I'm embarking on. It's just really, really giving permission to yourself to, hey, I'm going to deliver the value. You know it's going to be good, but I am going to create in my own time. Amazing. But
thank you.
What I want to ask from that question yesterday was, we were talking about overspending. So you answered a question about how to stop overspending, and then we touch on into what subconscious fear the person hold to hold money, right? To what is the subconscious fear. In your own story, has that happened before, overspending? And if so, what is one or two subconscious fear that you have overcome from that?
Such a good question. I feel like by the time I had money, I've done so much mindset work where I could catch myself if I ever got into a pattern of overspending much easier. So I wouldn't say that was ever like my issue. Like, I don't know what's going on. The money's just flying out the door. I think for me, it's very similar because it's still a subconscious fear around having money. Yeah. Depending on whether you prevent it from coming in the first place or you get rid of it, you're still at the same result, which is less money. And so that's just kind of like the mechanism of how you get to manifest your subconscious fear, but it's very much rooted in the same thing where there's some sort of subconscious fear that you hold around having money. And I think for myself, it was in preventing myself from attracting it, especially when I already had, my first business in the fitness space, and then Manifestation Babe. It was very slow. And I couldn't figure out, like, I could just feel like there's like this dam that's just like blocking the flow of money. And what is this block? And I can't figure it out. And so I just asked myself, it really comes down to like, what are the hidden benefits and feared losses? So what are you afraid you're going to lose, or what are you getting out of staying small? And so for me, I realized that I was afraid of, I connected that more money meant having all of these responsibilities. And at the time I was like, I feel like I barely have a handle of life right now. Like, how am I going to have more of a handle on life if I have more money? And I was afraid that I would finally, like for me, it was really connected to all of a sudden I'm going to have full independence from my parents. Cause again, I started my business at a young age. So I was only like 23 when I had this realization where I think, I finally moved out from home. You know, I was fresh out of college but my parents were still like paying for health insurance and like random things that you need in the world. But at the time I never had to think about it because I just graduated college. Oh my God, I have all these things that I have to like be concerned about. Oh my God.
Right.
And for whatever reason, I couldn't figure out like, what is it that is so scary about being independent from my parents? And I realized it was tied to watching my mom really struggle when she finally got independence from my dad. Where instead of having, you know, all of this freedom and all these finances, my mom actually ended up being in a worse situation because all of a sudden she was on her own.
Right.
And so I watched her struggle more. And then I watched her get into another relationship with my stepdad that then ended up raising me, for the rest of my life, you know, up until now. And all of a sudden life got better. Like support came in, another person to take care of us. All of a sudden we're good. Like, you know, we're going out to restaurants again and my mom's not crying so much over money. She's not freaking out as much. And then when I saw them break up when I was 16 years old for the first time, they broke up and then they ended up getting back together and getting married. Again, I watched my mom fucking lose it.
Right.
Panic. She said, we have to put the dog down because there's no apartments that allow Rottweilers. We had a Rottweiler that we rescued. We have to put the dog down. We have to move into a tiny apartment. And I remember just like panicking myself because my mom's panicking. So I'm watching like, oh, financial independence means something bad is going to happen. Right. And so then my mom and stepdad got back together and then they actually got married and life was good again. And then I'm watching my mom go through this whole thing again when they're officially divorced now and she's kind of getting back on her feet. So it's like this pattern where I realized that my subconscious fear was that the same thing would happen to me, that I wouldn't be able to stand on my own 2 feet, that I wouldn't have a handle on things and that would be really scary. And once I got past that fear by literally creating a list of what are all the benefits of playing small and what are the consequences. And I made sure to attach more pain to the consequences than I had the benefits. And once I wrote it down in front of me and I had this long list of consequences, I attached so much pain to it. I took myself out a year into the future, 2 years into the future, 4 years into the future, 10 years into the future, and like, oh my God, I don't want to be stuck here forever. And that was like some sort of shift for me where I then, you know, obviously took myself through a limiting belief process that I teach inside of Sovereign Money, which is really about questioning your beliefs and then also applying RRT to like shifting it in your subconscious. And all of a sudden, like, I swear to you, Alejandra, it was like a month after that point where I had like just the flow just started flowing. Like I had a $5,000 weekend for this launch that I did about a month after this process. And then after that, I went from making $9,000 to $600K in a single year. And it's because I just knew that I got myself. I proved all of this wrong to myself. I poked holes at the belief. I proved to myself that I'm going to be okay no matter what. Like no matter what, I'm going to make what I need. I'm going to make what I want. I can afford my own health insurance. Like I can afford these things. It's okay. Yeah. There's all these people in the world who can afford it. I can afford it too. I can make it happen. I really surrounded myself with successful people to prove to my subconscious mind. Like having an expander is really powerful. And so proving to your subconscious mind, look at all these examples of people who are doing it. And then I broke free of that. So that was my subconscious fear. And so it wasn't really overspending, but I see a very similar belief for people because they're actively getting rid of the money so that they play small.
Yeah. Love it. And I am going to say that I had to work through a big one at the beginning of this year with my business when I was putting the goal of $1 million, and the fear because of sovereign money, it came clear up with RRT, but it came by having this goal. I had to take care of my own family and not my direct family, like my baby and just my brothers, my sister, my family back in Colombia, my cousins, the cousin that I don't talk 20 years ago.
Yes.
It just came. I'm like, this is why I'm not putting the goal. Like what? Or like what? In what real world I will open the gates for that to happen? The thing is that it's not real. It's just subconscious, right? So when it came up, I just cleared it up straight away. And it has been such a game changer. And now I'm doing it the same with being a speaker for financial inclusion. And all the things have come up. Like, I'm not black enough, but I'm also not white enough. Like, this has always been the theme of my life. And all of the fears of black people saying, well, but you're not really black. White people saying, well, like, what are you doing here? And it's just like, it's always there, right? It's like every time that you want to go to another level, there is fears that come up. And the important thing is just like you say, poke holes, and what are the consequences of staying there?
I'm super curious because you bring this up, because I have a very small family, but I hear this a lot from people with big families, with the cousins in Colombia, like you mentioned, like, oh my God, all of a sudden they're going to start asking me for money.
Yeah.
I'm just curious for my own education, like, how did you overcome that? Like, what realizations did you have? Like, how did you get past that belief?
Once was the RRT. So I sat down with a member of the community and I told him, I'm tired of this. Like, I need to get rid of it. And he just did the RRT process and shared with me some perspective. That synced in a one level. The real thing that shifted to me was that the situation actually happened. So I got a cousin that messaged me on Facebook, say, hey, I don't have to pay the bills. I don't have money to do this and that. Can you send me some money? I knew that my dad already had done that for the same bills. So I knew that that person was taken care of. I knew that the situation was sorted, but she was trying to, get more. This is very common in big families. Like, you always have the person that asks for it, and you always have it just happens, right? So because I knew that she was taken care of, I said, okay, this is now my reaction. It's not about her. It's my reaction. And how do I want to continue living my life and overcoming this fear?
Yes.
Because my biggest fear is that my family sees that my family sees me like, I have money, but I don't want to help. So what happens when they see you that way? Well, they're not going to be nice to you. Well, fuck it. I don't care if you see me like a nice person or not. The point being is that I said, listen, I can't do it right now. Like I'm not able to do it right now. And I know that my dad already, have taken care of you. So I know that you'll be okay. Let me know if I can support you any other way.
Yes. I think also, I love that. And thank you so much for sharing that. I think also, like, one of the things that we can think about is, okay, how did I overcome my financial situation? And like, how can I offer those teachings and those principles and philosophies to this family member so that they can, it's like teaching a man how to fish instead of just giving them fish. It's very similar in that, of course, if it's in our hearts to help, if it's genuinely in our hearts, and we're not just being coerced or just feeling emotionally drawn to just like, oh, I feel bad for this person, I'm going to help them.
Exactly.
If it's in your heart to do so, I think it's totally fine. But I also think about how we often enable people to stay in the positions that they're in just by fixing it for them. And I think supporting is totally okay, but also understanding the impacts of like, am I just fixing this temporarily to where it continues to be a pervasive problem and a pervasive pattern? And how can I offer this person support on a level where it actually makes a difference in their lives?
Yeah.
Where they actually empower themselves to figure out how they can shift their own situations.
And I think part of that is also knowing who the person is, right? I knew this person. This is the way that she goes through life. This is the way that she has been able to support for her family, right? And there is certain guilt involved, which I unsubscribe after the RRT. So when you see it from that way, and when you understand the context and you understand that she's not looking to get out of the situation, she's only looking to continue her ways, I assess, I'm like, I'm not giving you. But in other situations, I have been like, listen, I can teach you. I can show you how am I doing it. I can give you the seed fund, because that's something that I do. Actually, in Colombia, we have a seed fund that goes through the universities, and we support it. Like, we give you the mentorship and the seed funds. But when you play out that this is the way that you want to do it, it's a harsh boundary that you have to put, especially with your family. I don't know, like, we have something in common with these Europeans in terms of family structure, right? But in Latin America, guilt trips are the best things that you can do with money. So once you're unsubscribed to that, you just are like, nope, not doing it.
Gosh.
Love it, Kathrin. Thank you so much for this. Guys, I'm going to link everything from Kathrin, now that you know who Manifestation Baby is by now. So, but go, if you don't follow her on Instagram, get into the waitlist of Sovereign Money. When are you doing? Do you know when are you doing the next launch?
I don't know yet, but they can get on the wait list and obviously get the most recent updates through there.
Amazing.
We'll keep them in the loop.
Okay. But before I let you go, did you know that you have a space where your money mindset work is made extra simple so that you can increase your income, better your relationship with money, and grow your business in such a simple and easy way? Go to themoneymindset.hub.com and choose your path and start making those changes easily and effortlessly. That is themoneymindset.hub.com.